Hey everyone, welcome back to the Mr. Jobs English podcast. We're so happy you're here with us again. I'm Mia.
And I'm James. And today, today we've got a profession that is intense, brave, respected, and full of action. We're diving into the world of firefighters, or, as we say in English, firefighter. No mixing languages, everything clean and simple.
Absolutely. Firefighters are heroes in so many communities. And today we're going to explore vocabulary, situations, real everyday tasks, and, of course, a small natural story to help you learn the language in context. And yes, we're right here in the same cozy studio, like always.
Cozy, but I'm imagining flames everywhere already, for only in my mind. Let's keep it safe in here.
Please do. So let's start naturally, like we always do. Firefighters do so many things beyond fighting fires. They respond to emergencies, rescue people and animals, check buildings, use heavy equipment, drive specialized vehicles, and communicate constantly under pressure.
And that brings us to one of our first vocabulary moments of today, the word hose, H-O-S-E. A hose is that long, flexible tube firefighters use to spray water. Simple definition, a long tube for water. Example, the firefighter grabbed the hose to put out the fire. Totally clear.
Another essential word is ladder truck. It's a big fire truck with a huge ladder attached to it. We don't say car. Firefighters use trucks. Example, the ladder truck arrived first, and the firefighters climbed up to the third floor.
And when firefighters arrive at a scene, they often need to do something called assess the situation. To assess means to look, think, and understand what's happening in order to take action. Example, they assessed the situation before entering the building. It's a verb that works in so many areas, not only emergencies.
Speaking of emergencies, this is a huge word too. Emergency. It means a dangerous or urgent situation. Example, they responded to an emergency call on the radio. And we'll naturally reuse these as we continue.
Firefighters wear special protective clothing, and one piece is the helmet. Everyone knows this word, but in the firefighter world, it's essential. Example, he put on his helmet before going inside.
And then we have oxygen tank. It's that heavy metal container they carry on their backs so they can breathe in smoky places. Example, she checked her oxygen tank before entering the building.
One more useful term is fire station. It's the place where firefighters work and stay. Example, the team waited at the fire station for the next call.
Okay. Now let's allow this vocabulary to appear naturally in a real-life moment, the way firefighters might experience it. Remember, everything stays simple, natural, and clear for learners.
Yeah, let's build a mini story right inside our conversation, as always.
So imagine this. It's early morning, and the team is at the fire station. Everyone is doing different tasks. One firefighter is checking the ladder truck, another is inspecting the hose connections, and another is cleaning and preparing equipment. It's quiet.
And then suddenly, the alarm goes off. That loud bell that signals something urgent. A call comes in. There's smoke in an apartment building nearby. The team has to move fast.
They jump into the truck, helmets on, oxygen tanks ready. When they arrive, they assess the situation. They see smoke coming from a window on the second floor. They use the ladder truck to reach that window while the others prepare the hose.
Inside the apartment, they find a dog trapped in the kitchen. Poor thing. They rescue it, bring it down the ladder, and then go back up to make sure no one else is inside. Meanwhile, two firefighters spray water through the window from the hose to control the fire.
After a few minutes, the fire is out. The team comes back down, removes their helmets, takes a breath, and checks the dog, which is scared, but okay. The neighbors clap and thank them, and the firefighters return to the fire station, ready for the next emergency.
And this is exactly why we admire firefighters. They deal with high-pressure situations, physical challenges, and emotional moments all the time.
And we can use this mini story to reinforce vocabulary in a natural, repeated way. You heard hose, ladder truck, assess the situation, helmet, oxygen tank, fire station, emergency, and rescue. Everything in action.
And of course, firefighters don't just fight fires. They also respond to medical emergencies, car accidents, chemical leaks, and natural disasters.
That brings us to another important word, first responders. Firefighters, police officers, and paramedics are all first responders, meaning they are the first people to arrive and help in an emergency.
And here's a good verb, evacuate. To evacuate means to make people leave a dangerous place. Example, they evacuated the building after smelling smoke. Easy to understand and very common.
Another useful term is hydrant. A hydrant is that metal post on sidewalks that firefighters connect the hose to. Example, they connected the hose to the hydrant quickly. It's a great practical word.
And we have protective gear. Gear means equipment, so protective gear is the full set of protective clothing and tools firefighters wear. Example, her protective gear kept her safe inside the burning house.
We'll naturally reuse these later, but for now, keep them in your mind. And don't worry, this is a long, natural, flowing conversation. Nothing here feels like a forced lesson.
Speaking of natural flow, we should also talk about communication. Radio communication is extremely important for firefighters. They often say things like copy, meaning I heard you and understood, or engine 3 on scene, meaning a specific truck has arrived.
And one expression I really like is stay alert. It means to stay attentive and focused. Example, firefighters must stay alert at all times. This can be useful in daily life too.
Now imagine again that first part of the mini-story we created. At the fire station, the team stays alert for the next call. They check their protective gear, the hydrant connections, the hose, the ladder truck, all part of their routine.
And when the emergency happens, they evacuate people, rescue animals, assess the situation, and use their training. And because this is a conversation-based learning experience, you'll keep hearing these verbs and nouns naturally.
That's right. And like always, we mix humor lightly so it feels real. For example, Mia, if you were a firefighter, I think your role would be the one giving instructions calmly.
I'd try, but I'd probably run slower than the others.
I'd trip on the hose for sure.
Please don't join my team.
Fair enough.
But jokes aside, firefighters train a lot. They learn how to use every piece of equipment safely and efficiently, and they practice teamwork constantly.
And that's something people don't always realize. Firefighting is a team job. No one does it alone.
And every time I think about firefighters, I remember how they train constantly. They're always practicing how to use equipment fast, how to communicate clearly, how to stay calm when everything around them is confusing.
Yeah. And that calm attitude is something people admire a lot. It's not just about the physical strength, it's the mental focus. Walking into a smoky building where you can barely see, staying aware of your team, listening for someone who might be trapped, it takes real discipline.
It really does. And even when the situation looks chaotic, firefighters follow their steps carefully, checking the temperature of a door, coordinating the hose, supporting each other, watching the structure. Everything is about teamwork.
And the vocabulary we've covered so far helps paint a clear picture. Hose, ladder, gear, helmet, oxygen tank, turnout coat, smoke, rescue, crew.
These words help learners imagine what firefighters face every day, and understanding the vocabulary makes the whole world of firefighting feel more real and accessible.
And I think there's still so much to explore. The challenges, the tools, the medical skills they use, the environments they work in.
Absolutely. And the more we talk, the more listeners can connect the vocabulary with real situations and real responsibilities firefighters deal with.
And this job has so many different scenarios that give us great examples for learning new words naturally.
Exactly. Let's keep building on that feeling. When we keep thinking about what firefighters deal with, one thing that always stands out is how fast everything happens. There's no slow moment when an alarm goes off. The sound hits, the lights flash, and everyone moves instantly.
Exactly. And the action starts the moment they slide into their boots and pull on their gear. I've talked to firefighters who say that your body just reacts. You're checking your helmet strap, securing your gloves, grabbing your radio, and running toward the truck all at once.
And the vocabulary around that moment is really important. The word dispatch, for example. Dispatch is the communication center that sends firefighters to emergencies. They give the address, the type of call, and any immediate dangers.
Yeah, and the phrase responding to a call is used constantly. It means going to the emergency. You'll hear people say, "We're responding to a structure fire," or "We're responding to a medical call."
A structure fire is any fire in a building. And inside a building, smoke is often the biggest danger. Smoke reduces visibility, burns your lungs, and hides obstacles. That's why the oxygen tank and mask, or SCBA, self-contained breathing apparatus, are so essential.
SCBA is a mouthful, but firefighters use it all the time. When they say mask up, it means they're putting the mask on and sealing it properly before going inside.
And once they enter, everything changes. The temperature can be intense, even far away from the flames. The air feels thick, the sound of crackling fire echoes everywhere, and the crew needs to communicate using short phrases so everyone stays coordinated.
And that brings in terms like advance the hose, which means pushing the hose forward into the building while controlling the water, or vent, which means removing smoke or heat from the building by opening windows or cutting a hole in the roof.
Venting is fascinating because it sounds simple, but it's strategic. If done wrong, it can make the fire stronger. If done right, it helps firefighters see and breathe better.
And there's something else many people don't realize. Firefighters deal with way more than fires. A huge part of the job is medical calls. Car accidents, chest pain, allergic reactions, broken bones. Firefighters often arrive before paramedics.
Yes, and that's why the vocabulary includes things like first aid, vitals, airway, stretcher, and stabilize. They need to help people immediately and safely until more medical support arrives.
And navigation vocabulary is important too because they work in so many different environments. They talk about high-rise buildings, basements, attics, hallways, and stairwells. Each place has different risks.
Like a basement filled with smoke where it's hard to know where the fire is, or an attic where the heat builds fast, or a high-rise where the stairwell is the only way to reach the top floors with equipment.
Stairwells are exhausting for firefighters because they carry heavy gear, hoses, axes, thermal cameras.
A thermal camera is really cool. It helps them see heat through smoke, showing where the fire is or if there's someone hidden behind the smoke.
That tool is a lifesaver. And speaking of life-saving moments, we should talk about rescue vocabulary. Extracting, for example, means removing someone from a dangerous situation, and carry out means physically carrying a person to safety.
And overhaul is a word many learners don't know. After firefighters put out the flames, they do overhaul, which means checking for hidden fire or heat to make sure it doesn't start again.
It's like searching inside walls, ceilings, or furniture for any remaining embers.
And hot spots are those areas where heat is still present. They need to cool them down to prevent another fire.
And there's also fire line, which refers to the perimeter around an outdoor fire, and contain, which means keeping the fire inside an area so it doesn't spread.
Outdoor fires have their own challenges, like wind direction, dry grass, and visibility, and firefighters often work with other teams in those situations.
And teamwork vocabulary becomes even more important. Things like cover me, meaning watch and support. Hold pressure, telling someone to maintain control of the hose. And check for extension, meaning look for fire spreading.
And while all this is happening, firefighters also need to manage emotions. Emergencies are intense for everyone involved. People are scared, confused, crying, shouting, and firefighters need to stay calm and focused.
That emotional stability is incredible. They reassure people, explain what's happening, give quick instructions like stay low, follow me, or move back, depending on the situation.
And they also make fast decisions. When I interviewed a firefighter once, he told me he sometimes had only a second to decide which room to enter first.
That's so true. And the vocabulary around decision-making is important too, like assess, meaning to evaluate the situation, prioritize, deciding what's most urgent, and isolate, separating an area for safety.
And I love how all of this creates a whole picture of the job. The physical work, the technical vocabulary, the communication, the medical skills, the emotional intelligence.
And the equipment adds even more vocabulary. Turnout pants, fire-resistant gloves, radios, hose couplings, axes, hydrants.
Oh, hydrants. That iconic image of a firefighter connecting a hose to a bright red hydrant on the street. It's such a classic scene.
And they have to open the hydrant using a special wrench. Water flow, pressure, direction, everything matters.
And something that fascinates me is that after all this action, firefighters very often return to the station and immediately clean and organize everything. The station becomes full of activity again, washing hoses, checking equipment, refilling air tanks.
Yeah, everything has to be ready for the next call. They never know when it'll come, so preparation is constant.
And that's what makes this profession so admirable. The responsibility never stops, the environment changes every day, and every call brings a new situation to learn from.
And all of that gives us so much to keep exploring, especially when it comes to specific tools and real scenarios firefighters deal with regularly.
Exactly. And the more we build on these details, the easier it becomes for learners to imagine the job, understand the vocabulary, and connect with the situations in a natural way. When we keep looking at what firefighters do every day, I always get amazed at how much technical knowledge they need. People think it's all about carrying hoses and climbing ladders, but it's so much deeper than that. Firefighters need to understand chemistry, building structure, airflow, medical care, and even psychology.
Absolutely. And the word fire behavior explains a lot. Fire behavior is how fire moves, grows, reacts to materials, and changes depending on conditions. Firefighters study this like a science because understanding it helps them decide where to go, which door to open, and how to control the situation.
And one of the most important concepts is flashover. Flashover is the moment when a room gets so hot that everything inside ignites almost instantly. It's one of the biggest dangers inside a burning building.
Right. You know it's close when the smoke gets low and thick and the temperature suddenly rises. Firefighters train to recognize these signs so they can avoid getting trapped.
And then there's backdraft, which is when a fire has low oxygen and suddenly gets oxygen again, like when a door is opened, and it explodes outward. The vocabulary itself sounds dramatic, but it's a very real danger.
Yeah, and firefighters learn how to test doors for heat, how to open them safely, and how to use tools to make controlled openings. The axe and the Halligan tool are classics. The Halligan is like the Swiss Army knife of firefighting, one tool with several functions.
I love the name Halligan. It sounds like a superhero name.
It kind of does. And when firefighters talk about forcible entry, they're using tools like the Halligan to enter locked buildings. It sounds aggressive, but it's necessary when people are inside and can't get out.
And then they also need to know how to protect themselves with fire-resistant gear. The whole set, jacket, pants, hood, gloves, keeps them safe from heat. But even then, the temperature inside a fire can be intense.
And the gloves make everything harder. Imagine trying to grab a small object while wearing thick gloves. That's why the vocabulary around movements is important. Grip, secure, stabilize, push, pull, brace, steady.
And that ties into teamwork. Firefighters never work alone. They always have a partner. 2 in, 2 out is a rule that ensures no one is inside a dangerous building alone.
Communication during these moments needs to be fast, clear, and simple. Words like clear, meaning no danger, blocked, meaning the path is not safe, advance, telling the team to move forward, retreat, telling them to step back.
And firefighters also need to control the hose pressure. If the pressure is too strong, the hose can be hard to manage. If it's too weak, the water won't reach the fire.
And managing the hose requires strength and coordination. It's basically fighting against a heavy stream of water that pushes back with force.
And even though all this sounds very physical, there's also a lot of mental work. Firefighters constantly analyze risks, think about escape routes, pay attention to temperature changes, and monitor their air supply.
Air supply vocabulary is essential. The SCBA tank has a limited amount of air, so firefighters talk about remaining air, low air alarm, and refill station. The low air alarm makes a loud beeping sound when the tank is running out.
And imagine being inside a smoky room, hearing the alarm, trying to help someone, and also calculating how long you can stay inside. That takes a lot of training.
Speaking of helping someone, let's go into rescue situations again. For example, the drag, meaning pulling a person across the floor. Firefighters use specific techniques like the firefighter drag or underarm drag to move someone quickly and safely.
And they sometimes use a rescue strap to lift or carry a person. The safety vocabulary around that includes secure the patient, lift, lower, support, position, balance, assist.
Another common word is evacuate. If the building is dangerous, firefighters evacuate the people inside, meaning they guide them out.
And reassure is something they do constantly. Reassuring people means helping them feel calm. They might say, "You're safe now," or "Follow me, keep your head low," or "We've got you."
That human side of the profession is so important. Sometimes people are in shock, crying, panicking, or frozen, and firefighters help them move and react.
And after a big fire, firefighters often support families emotionally. They explain what happened, what was lost, and what can be saved. That compassion is part of the profession, too.
Something else I find interesting is how firefighters clean and maintain their equipment after every call. They wash the hoses, check the air tanks, inspect their gear, refill the engine, restock medical supplies. Everything has to be ready.
And the fire truck itself has a lot of vocabulary. The pump panel controls the water flow, the ladder rack holds the ladders, the compartments store tools, and the engine bay is where the truck is parked inside the station.
And when they leave the station, the big door opening is called a bay door. It's funny how many everyday words have specific meaning in this context.
True. And then there's vocabulary about fire prevention. Firefighters teach people about smoke alarms, escape plans, fire drills, and fire hazards. They spend a lot of time educating the community.
And that community role is huge. Kids love visiting fire stations. Schools invite firefighters for demonstrations. And firefighters show how to stop, drop, and roll, which is the technique to put out flames on clothing.
And all this makes the profession very dynamic. One day might be full of medical calls, another day full of inspections, another day with training sessions, and another with large fires.
And that variety creates so much vocabulary. Words like shift, meaning the hours they work, crew, the team, captain, chief, or lieutenant, which are ranks inside the department.
And the training vocabulary is interesting too. Drills, practice burns, simulations, search training, and ladder training. Firefighters train constantly, even during slow days at the station.
And speaking of ladders, firefighters have different types: straight ladders, extension ladders, roof ladders, and they need to know how to carry them safely.
And climbing while wearing heavy gear and carrying tools is no joke. It takes strength and balance.
And then there's vocabulary related to wildfires. Things like fire break, which is a gap that stops the fire; containment line, the area used to control the fire; crew boss, the team leader; and embers, small burning pieces that fly in the air.
Wildfires behave differently from indoor fires. Wind, terrain, and weather matter a lot. Firefighters need to monitor directions, predict movement, and protect communities.
And they sometimes work for hours or even days, sleeping in temporary camps. The conditions can be tough: heat, smoke, long distances, unpredictable fire behavior.
And that's why mental endurance is such a big part of the profession. Staying focused when tired is essential.
And I think that brings us to another important point: health and safety. Firefighters talk a lot about hydration, rest cycles, heat exhaustion, and decontamination.
Decontamination is the process of removing harmful substances from gear and equipment after a fire. Smoke particles can be toxic, so firefighters clean everything carefully.
And they also train for dangerous situations like Mayday calls, which are emergency radio messages used when a firefighter is in trouble. When someone says Mayday, the whole crew reacts immediately.
They practice how to locate the missing firefighter, how to follow a hose line to find them, how to stay calm while searching.
And again, communication vocabulary is key: location, status, movement, obstacle, visibility, heat level, air supply.
It's amazing how every word carries meaning that can help save a life.
And after everything, from fires to medical calls to rescues, firefighters still return to the station, hang their gear, refill the truck, and talk through the events.
Those talks help them improve and also help them emotionally. They support each other, share experiences, and learn as a team.
And it's that combination of strength, intelligence, skill, and compassion that makes firefighters such admirable professionals.
Absolutely. And for English learners, this profession is full of authentic vocabulary that appears in movies, news, emergency situations, and everyday life.
And before we wrap up our conversation, it's a good moment to bring everything together and leave our listeners with a clear sense of the role firefighters play.
Firefighters protect people, homes, buildings, communities. They respond to fires, medical emergencies, car accidents, rescues, natural disasters.
They work with equipment, communicate clearly, take action fast, analyze risks, and stay calm in the middle of chaos.
And they bring comfort during scary moments. That part always touches me.
Me too. Their presence alone makes people feel safer.
And for our listeners, if you learned something new today or felt more confident with vocabulary, that already makes everything worth it.
Definitely. So thank you for joining us and learning with us.
And if you enjoyed today's episode, follow the podcast, hit the like button, and tell us in the comments which profession you want us to talk about next.
And we'll see you in the next one.
Bye, everyone.
Take care, guys.